opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good yawning this morning, and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Monday, the 22nd of June, and you are on the clock with Erin, Greene. It's Monday. How was Father's Day? I want to know how Father's Day was. We're going to have a segment in today's show, Father's Day to Father of the Nation, right? Father's Day to Father of the Nation. Fathers, did you get what you wanted? Did you get what you expected? What was the top gift this year for fathers? Have we seen a shift, right, in how we treat fathers in the country? Myths about Bahamian men and fatherhood. Do Bahamian men take fatherhood seriously? And from father of the nation to papa to quote-unquote daddy, what's next? What's next? So that's what some of the questions I have on deck, as well as what's in the headlines, Guardian headlines. BPL issues worsen across country. Halkitas claims transparency around building voucher process. And number of people with disabilities increases. BNSI says that's the Bahamas National Statistical Institute. Then on the front of the Tribune, Kemp Road man killed by pack of stray dogs. Census reports over 38,000 people live with disability. PMH halts elective surgery as broken AC stalls work. As we get the show started, caller, I coming to you right now. Don't go anywhere. When did the new pedestrian crossing go up? When did the new pedestrian crossing go up on Shirley Street? On Shirley Street, and why were drivers not alerted to the new road changes? How come nobody told drivers about the new road changes? Let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning, Erin.
Good morning, Mr. Duncombe. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Sorry for me. I would say I'm being intrusive with the opening salvo.
No, you good, you good. Because, tell them why. Because Cleaver Duncombe, is a father's rights advocate. Go on.
Yeah, Erin, I was very impressed what I seen over the weekend, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Prior to me coming on the scene, or when we first started out, when you're talking about fathers, it was like it used to be an isolated type situation.
Mm-hmm.
You would see some crab vendors, but not much persons selling gift baskets like they did, like they normally do for Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
But over the weekend, I've seen scores of persons set up tents who are selling baskets and stuff, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to encourage, I guess, fathers or to award or fathers who would have played an integral part in the children's lives or who are playing. But it appears to me, Erin, that it's a paradigm shift. It'll be interesting to know whether those persons were able to benefit financially and that people would have patronized their business. But I think I am kind of excited, you know, for generally, you know, to say that I had a role to play with the shifting of the law, even though it doesn't come close to what we really wanted and what we agreed to internationally. I still believe that it made some improvement for fathers to actually be able to spend time with their children or their child or whatever their situation may be.
Mm-hmm.
Because it used to be rough, Erin. And I believe yesterday, but that law being amended, even though, or introduced the Child Protection Act,
Mm-hmm.
which I believe should have been, Erin, the Family and Child Protection Act. But for whatever reason, they decided to drop the family part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that we are seeing a paradigm shift. Even at graduations, Erin, when you look at the scores of young men, fathers who are participating in their children's educational success, I think they all need to be commended. You know, they all need to be commended for a job well done. And nothing can really replace, Erin, parenting. Parenting is so indelible, Erin, that it not only affects the child that you're raising, it affects 2 generations after. That's the indelible impression of parenting. So imagine if you were a bad parent, you definitely would be affecting 2 generations after. So I kudos to all the fathers out there who are trying, and for those who still have some challenges, we're going to continue to advocate, whereas we can get more balance in the legislation, whereas it will shift more towards shared common responsibility as opposed to just access, whatever that is. But we'll see basically, Erin, what happens over the next years to come. But again, I think I am excited, Erin. Even though I've been denied many opportunities, I still believe that I would have played a role in some father being allowed to play that important role in the children's life.
Cleaver, I got questions. I got questions for you, Cleaver.
Yeah.
I get questions only because I lost your number, okay? I didn't call you to be on a show with this theme.
No problem.
Okay?
I think I go nowhere soon.
All right. So one of my listeners last week, right? I'm going to throw out the idea again. One of the listeners last week said, "Hey, would it be effective? Would it be well received by society and by fathers in particular if we somehow, whether it's an NGO organization in partnership with the government or in partnership with private sector, right? That we organize a DNA drive, a testing drive for men who want to confirm paternity and for children who want to confirm paternity in the pursuit of finding their father." Do you think that society is prepared for that?
No, they are not prepared for it. I mean, the wider population is, but, you know, I mean, Erin, the Privy Council made a significant ruling a few years back. And we were supposed to move in the direction of paternity and maternity testing. But the politicians strike that down. We're still using the old way of conferring citizenship or even addressing the issue of DNA testing. Let me give you an example. If an American child outside the U.S. and they want to confer citizenship to that child, I mean, DNA testing is a part of it. They have mother, baby, father, baby, siblings, if any, but that's how you do it. But we're still using JP. I mean, the politicians, for whatever reason, and the pastors, some of these wayward pastors who are making babies all over the place, they don't want any legal responsibility to these children, Erin, and they will make it more difficult by using these old archaic paper and pen type situations. They're afraid of DNA testing. For whatever reason, it makes no sense to me, but that small segment is hijacking the process, and hence we have what we are having today. But they are disgusting, and something really needs to be done to these wayward pastors and politicians who are making babies all over the place and who don't want any parental responsibility other than to pay a few dollars around the court, which is or to the mother hush-hush money, so to speak. So we are ready as a wider population. The status quo, these politicians and wayward pastors and persons who are making babies like candy, they're the ones who are holding up the process. That's all it is, Erin. It's nothing more, but it will be a good thing. It would bring relief. I'll say this, Erin. My father died at a very young age for me. I was about 6. And I would be the happiest man on earth if I could have seen a picture of him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that hasn't happened. But the thing is, Erin, that what you're suggesting could wipe away so many tears from people's eyes and bring tears of joy and happiness.
So,
but if you don't want a better country,
So
we don't want to build a country. We just want this thing to foster. I don't know how much more longer we intend to keep it this way. But we're not serious about nation building and building a country of peace and harmony. We're not interested in that.
So Cleaver, I got about 2 or 3 more questions for you, right? I can tell you the first one, but I really want us to sit on the second one. The first one, I want us to think about custody, right? Because we want child support to increase, but it can't just increase on air, as the young folks say. There needs to be a shift in what sharing custody looks like, right? In the system. Now, the child support is, I think, in many instances is insufficient. But what fathers are saying, fathers who do pay child support regularly are saying, I'll pay more if I get better terms in terms of access to my child. So that's the first one. But the second one is this, right? When I was introduced to your advocacy, one of the first things I thought about was like, clarifying what we're talking about. And what stuck in my mind was, how do we ensure that there's a balance between the mother's right to privacy, the father's right to privacy, and the child's right to know their parents, right? And so now we are approaching, the government has proposed what we're going to call elder care legislation. Is actually the elder abandonment bill, which concerns me because that bill can't be the only bill, because this bill is not just driven by the appearance of this bill is not just driven by our local issue with elderly people being abandoned in healthcare facilities, but it's the tabling of the legislation is driven by a broader PAHO program that we are in the middle of. We're like 5 years into a 10-year protocol on long-term care. And that's really what's driving the legislation. So now that we have this sort of focus on elder care, right, where I imagine at some point somebody is going to be subpoenaed to take a DNA test to prove that they are the offspring of this person and that they do have a legal responsibility for them, right? If that's a proposal in the near future, right? Because how you can prove that's my daddy? How you can prove that's my daddy I have to take care of? In the same light, can we do that, making a determination that we will make paternity testing mandatory at birth?
Erin, I thought about the same thing, and I also thought about it when I heard Dr. Darwell spoke about perhaps penalizing or maybe jailing. I'm not too sure, but jailing is a part of it, for persons who don't remove or come for their relatives when they are released from hospital.
When they're discharged, yeah.
I thought that was kind of crazy, but Erin, we can't run away from paternity testing much longer if we want to build a serious country and address these issues. But we see these things happening in other countries, but we don't want to take the correct steps to make sure it is effective, that you meet your end goal. But we just want to say they say it, but they don't really want to do it. Erin, I could work as a consultant in the Department of Social Services or wherever it is for free, pro bono. And if I don't get any work done, you don't pay me.
Yeah.
That's the type of arrangement I'm willing to work on, as opposed to these consultants who are taking home tens of dollars and can't even write or never even submitted a white paper. But the thing is, Erin, with that, you are spot on. It has to be paternity and maternity testing involved in this process, and in order for it to be effective, in order for it to work. But for whatever reason, the status quo again, Erin, they're afraid of DNA testing. I don't know why.
We know why. It's cultural.
Traumatized.
It's cultural, and then there's some technical reasons as well, right? But listen, Cleaver, I got another caller. Do me a favor. Producer, take Cleaver's number, because I changed my phone, so I know you don't have my new number. Take Cleaver's number, please, producer, and we're going to reach out and do a formal full show, hey?
Thanks a lot, Erin.
No, man, thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you for reaching out. All right, let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller. Thank you for your patience. You still there? Sorry, I lost you. I'm going to go to the next caller. Good morning, caller. How are you?
Very special good morning to you, Ms. Greene. Sparky here.
Good morning, sir.
Had a beautiful, beautiful Father's Day. I hope all the fathers out there had a wonderful day. Happy belated Father's Day. Them who didn't get to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
I got the chance to get out of Nassau for a couple of days in the screen, and I'm headed back into Nassau now, just passing Bahama, headed up. And I think on the way, you know, I like to tell little stories. On the way up, I'll go Nassau Street and go and say a prayer to my mother's grave and my grandfather's grave in the Western Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you Bahamians all have a beautiful day. Now, before I go, Miss Greene,
Yes, sir.
somebody texted me about 2 o'clock in the morning, but I don't trust the social media because everybody always sending these messages out and find out it ain't the truth. But somebody told me an ex-MP fell out and was in serious conditions at the hospital. Did you hear anything about that?
Yeah,
I'm talking about the pot case.
Yeah, let me.
True. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. So let me tell you what I went to bed with. I went to bed, rest assured the pot cake is doing well and in stable condition. He was attending a number of events yesterday, I think. And please, y'all, do not forget, we are in the middle of a heat wave. He may have been affected by the heat. Now, we know Mr. Leslie Miller is a strong man. There were rumors that his daughter had also taken ill. It turns out it may be seafood poisoning, a touch of seafood poisoning. The point is this, though, that she is fine and well. If it were the truth, it was greatly exaggerated. But maybe both of them shared a meal that did not do their bodies well, left them in a condition that, rendered them vulnerable to the heat. But Mr. Leslie Miller, former MP, former cabinet minister, forever the healthiest old man in this country, Mr. Walkathon himself, is in stable condition and doing well. That's the news that I went to bed with last night. Good morning, caller.
Friend, how you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Hey, please tell the people, remind the people to rate themselves properly, right?
Mm-hmm.
But don't drink too much water now, because remember last year, the woman I know, she's thinking, she drank but 10 gallons of water and dead.
Yeah.
The second thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this hot yesterday, man, I passed one guy on the side of the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, him, so you know he just lying him.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him, he cut the grass, right? Man, the man said, Daddy, it's too hot out there. So you know, if the person who must be just reach here, he ain't gonna cut the grass, you know that?
Yeah.
Tell you thing I'll make a note on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, we ain't need no paternity test, you know. You ain't need no DNA test. If you Grammy ain't all the child ain't yours.
Now, what that mean? If the Grammy...
If you see a Grammy walk straight out the hospital room, that ain't big man, that ain't yours.
Okay, all right. See, if the grandmother does not see any familial signs on the face of the child, if she does not get a sense of connection. Now, people will say that's just old wives' tale devised to denigrate women and mothers, right? To suggest that they bad mind and the man could never trust a woman. What's the root of that? Well, let me tell you what the root of it is, right? When your mother was in your grandmother's womb, your grandmother gave her all the eggs that she would have for her entire life, including you. That's why grandmothers have a instinctual connection, right? Like they get to see their grandchildren. It is similar science for men. We carry parts of our ancestors with us. They give it to us, right? Like for men, their reproductive processes. And
Yeah,
so,
but before you go, let me tell you this
yeah.
little short story, right?
Mhm.
Like, one day I saw this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the girl, dark, like Andrew Stark, right?
Yeah.
The guy must be Cat Island dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
He owned the baby, right? The baby, the same color as Prince Simonet and blown out. I hear the girl, over the girl tell him, say, oh, yeah, your child, this a gorgeous child. How'd I get the man, child?
You think this is an episode?
You think-
You think this is a Cat Williams movie? That's what happened. Genetics. That's why. Genetics. It is possible. It's possible. Genetics. Now, you may want some DNA confirmation, right? But it is possible. The first thing we know is that it takes time for babies for the skin, for the melanin to hit the levels that it's supposed to hit. Some babies darken up after the first year, some after the first month, right? Some kids, their skin tone and their hair texture changes as they move from newborn, infant, to toddler, to teenager. It's genetics. That's one of the reasons why people are proponents for DNA testing. Take out all of the questions and let's just have proof of paternity one time. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Erin, Alan Johnson.
Good morning. How are you?
I just want to follow up on the conversation with Cleaver.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest way to solve our problem in regards to custody is that on the birth of a child, just change the law that you have what is called a shared custody arrangement, with one parent being the primary custodian. And then you make that separate and apart from a child support. It's been done in the U.S. and it's more so in Florida for a couple of decades now. So what happens then is that the child is born, the DNA is established from the mother and the father as part of a registry. Of course, we have to strengthen data privacy, data protection, and data sovereignty laws, as part of the ID system. But what it now does, it says who will be the primary custodian, the mother or the father. But what it does, it gives each one of them 100% access to the child, just that the child will live with one of them. And you could even make arrangements for holidays, shared holidays, or whatever. On the aspect of child support should be a percentage of whatever is required. And any lack there is for child support should come as a loan from government as part of the social safety net. What do I mean by that? Let's say the father does not pay child support. It should not affect his or her ability to have full contact and integration with the child. Child support has nothing to do with the right to be in the separate support issue. But let's say I'm the father and I don't pay child support. The state will lend the mother the money and hold it against me, set a particular threshold for when it becomes even a charge in front of the court, or an attachment to my professional license, and any real estate or any property they have. $30 a month. Just use as an example, and the father doesn't pay it. It still accumulates against him, but the state, let's say the state provides school coupons or whatever it is for the child, the state keeps keeps a track of that amount of money that they lend to the child as part of the social safety net on behalf of the father or mother who is not paying the support. These are simple processes that we can enact, and what it does is just create a more secure environment for our children. We do need an update on our social safety net for parents, as well as what the state should provide. We waste enough money to put some self-funding processes in place, as well as integrate into things such as farming and all these other different things. We talk a lot. There's no publication, no records, or anything anywhere for the $250 million that we spend as consultants, as people would say, to show us the blueprint for what we are trying to achieve. It's just talk. And what could be, might be, should be aspirational. Thank you so much.
Thank you, C. Allen. Thank you very much for that. As we go into today's headlines, right, this conversation also intersects. If we're looking at today's Guardian, number of people with disabilities increases, BNSI says. Over 38,000 Bahamians are now living with disabilities, representing 10.3% of the Bahamas' population, and marking a significant uptick in disabled individuals over the last decade, according to newly released data from the Bahamas National Statistical Institute. The third release of the 2022 Census of Population and Housing Disability Report, accounting for people aged 5 years and older, revealed that a total of 38,551 people with disabilities were living in the Bahamas, with data comprising of people in New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco, and the rest of the Family Islands. Of the total number of disabled Bahamians, 22,021 were females and 16,530 were males. Now, PAHO told us recently that I think, is it 14% of the people age 65 and over in the Caribbean require long-term care. 14% of people 65 over and over in the Caribbean require long-term care, and I think that is approximately 8 million people. And of the caretakers, 70% of the caretakers for these people are women. And now we're seeing in the Bahamas that there were, I want to say significantly, 6,000 more, just under 6,000 more females than males are disabled, right? Or were disabled at that time. The last census was conducted in 2010 when officials found that 10,138 people with disabilities were living in the Bahamas, representing just 2%, and we're going to go, give me a second, we're going to go to page 8A9, representing just 2% of the total population. The 2010 census showed that men with disabilities outnumbered women with disabilities on every island, representing 5,250 individuals. The newest data stated that New Providence recorded the largest number of people with disabilities due to its large population, with 26,712 individuals of the total disabled population in the country. Now, when we turn to the Tribune article, right, one point that the Tribune article makes or says is that how officials have cautioned that the sharp increase partly reflects a major change in how disability was measured. The Bahamas National Statistical Institute's latest disability report found that 38,551 people, or 10.3% of the population aged 5 and older, reported at least one disability. The 2010 census recorded 10,138 people with disability. Figures are not directly comparable because the latest census used different questions. So we're going to go to page 5 in the Tribune. When accounted for most people with disabilities, the report, the third release from the 20 Census of Population and Housing, found that disability increased sharply with age. It's a very, very long read. I'm going to go into it over the week and try and pull out some excerpts from it. One point or one question I think we have to ask is this. So we get a sense of the numbers. Go back to the Guardian. Of the total 38,551 people. 38,551 people. How many of these people operate a motor vehicle, and how many of these people have a disabled badge, a disabled parking badge? Let's go to the phone line, and then we get back into that question and text. I see you. I come into you soon. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, sorry to call back. Not sorry to call back, but while I was out in Nassau, I also got a text that they said the operating theaters at the Princess Margaret Hospital has been shut down and closed down because of lack of air conditioning, and all surgeries have been canceled.
All right.
And there are hundreds of people waiting to have surgeries done. Is there any truth to that?
There is some truth, but that is not the truth. Here's what we see on the front page of today's Tribune. PMH halts elective surgery as broken AC stalls work. PMH halts elective surgery. So those are non-life-threatening issues, right? They have been postponed. But I also, before seeing today's paper over the weekend, saw a notice from the Ministry of Health indicating that parts of the hospital would be closed because they are renovating the floors. Now, this Tribune article says ongoing works at Princess Margaret Hospital have forced the cancellation of all non-emergency elective surgeries, creating a significant backlog as technical problems stall renovations in the hospital's main operating theater. Former Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands warned yesterday. Now, the article makes a distinction. It says non-emergency elective surgeries. Here's the thing. There's some people, the issue may not be life-threatening, but it may render them in a significant amount of pain and discomfort. And these are also important, right? But it says, Sparky, non-emergency elective surgeries, right? Now, Dr. Dwayne Sands, former health minister, told the Tribune the disruption has dragged on for several weeks as PHA tries to replace flooring in the main operating theater, but cannot move ahead because the space must be properly climate controlled and the air conditioning chillers are not working. This is very, very important. This is a very, very important notice. Producer, let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good stuff.
Still tall, smart, and handsome, and a Queens College comet as yourself.
Now listen, hold on. Since you so aptly describe yourself, I like the Queens College comment part.
Yeah.
Graham, could I beg you, as a COI candidate and a political and community advocate in St. Anne's constituency, could I beg you to take on a safe scooter campaign? Let me tell you what happened to me this morning.
Oh, I mean, I want to answer that too before you go into great detail because I own a cell phone.
Okay.
I'd be willing to not only do that, but any motorcycle cop that's listening to us, I would encourage them to come and join us, and we will charge a flat fee of $50, not per lesson, just a flat fee. And you'll be trained by a motorcycle cop because, you see, I don't have those credentials.
I got you. Yeah.
And before you get that license to drive a motorcycle, because it's a separate license for a motorcycle in the States.
Yeah.
In Canada, there's 3 types of license. You could drive around in class 1 or A, and the next one is you could drive over to your cousin's house on the larger roads, and on the major roads, you need a special license for a motorcycle.
Yeah.
3 motorcycle light here. The only credential is take off your helmet, stand on the seat, traffic. But the sad reality is, we know young people like to display their skills, and I think we should do that somewhere safe, out by the tracks, maybe every Sunday, and allow people to do the crazy stuff, but with a helmet and protective gear. That's a whole show, and I'd love to come on and discuss that with you.
Yeah, man. Okay.
But today, if someone on a motorcycle, let me tie it all in, were to have an incident and go to the hospital, we have some issues. And after 54 years almost, and 2 political parties, one would have thought that we would have had a major hospital, east and west, on this island. Because if you are in the west, God help you if there's traffic and you have to get down there to PMH.
Yeah.
And so until we have the wisdom, say we care about our people, that's what they say when they knock on your door. We would have built 2 hospitals in 54 years. And now we're building a special one. That hospital is for women and children. What about our young men? Our adult men, they can't go there?
Yes, they could go there. They could go.
Okay. Because
they're not going to be turned away.
Let's move on. We're a failed state as it pertains to health care and looks like electricity. Now, tell me a story about the scooter, please.
All right. This morning on my way to work, dear audience, I was coming out of Johnson Road, going onto the Eastern Road. I had on my left turn signal. I waited. I give it at least 2 or 3 feet from the intersection because you do not have to come to a complete stop. at the Eastern Road on Johnson Road, but you must yield to oncoming traffic. I yielded, and then I realized this four-wheeler came to the right side of me. Now, drivers often like to take that one car lane and turn it into two car lane, right? Like pretend there's a right turn lane there. There isn't a right turn lane there. What they end up doing is obstructing the view of the driver who has the right of way at the intersection. So I'm turning left, but I can't see oncoming traffic because there's another vehicle who's trying to turn right, blocking my view. Similarly, I'm trying to turn right, but I can't see oncoming traffic because somebody's decided that they're going to come on my left side. Anyway, this morning, the scooter pulled up on the right side of me, and I'm about to hit gas and turn left when I realize that the scooter is about to turn left in front of me. And when I saw that old man and he didn't have on a helmet, right, I said, what are you? And I could be honest, I cuss. Because I had to cuss because I already saw myself hitting him. I already saw myself hitting him and pushing him straight into the Roman Catholic yard, right? And I said to myself, hey, nobody would appreciate the joke if I say, yeah, but I mean, I killed him, but right there in front of the church, he could have get the blessings. See, that's how you always drive, as if it's a joke, right? I cussed the man because he almost died. Anyway, he pulled up to me on the side of me, and he apologized. He said, Miss, I'm so sorry. I was not even thinking. And all I could say to Uncle was, Uncle, you ain't got on no helmet, and you're making a third lane right now to talk to me? You got to be safer. Anyway, Uncle, I hope you're having a good morning. Be safer. We all could be safer. You guys, hold the line. We go into a break. Stay tuned. On the clock. We'll be right back.
Wait, you know what's going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing the knife to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
Wait, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you on?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody. I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, how many boys coming for me next?
All right, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how did I avoid?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the call go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them, and they can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you're saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the
Put more money back in your pocket with the Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan. Why pay more when you can pay less? Reduce your monthly debt payments down to one low, easy payment. Apply for a Fidelity Debt Consolidation Loan today. 7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Struggling to find your financial rhythm? Make that move to Fidelity and let us help you orchestrate your financial goals into perfect harmony with free financial coaching sessions. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Guess who's back?
It's that time again for the 31st annual Michael Scootery Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic.
Bring it on now, let's go.
Whether you're a player or a fan, you don't want to miss this one. The action starts July 13th at the Hope Center. Log on to peaceonthestreets.com and register. Come on, everybody, we're going! That's the Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic, where we shoot hoops instead of guns.
Game time.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
At Cleveland Clinic,
You set your course, not cancer. So when your journey takes an unexpected turn, you seek out the experts who've conquered it before, and you forge new paths to help fight cancers. For every route to a cure, for every care in the world. See how we're innovating cancer care at Cleveland Clinic today.
Good morning and welcome back to On the Clock. We got some text sitting in the text line, and then we're going to get back to headlines. Here we go. Ms. Greene, some of these political types are so disingenuous. Graham is criticizing the government for not building another hospital on New Providence. Ain't that a laugh? I think it's a good sticking point, right? From an advocate's perspective, it's a great talking point. It may not resonate with you, but it's building a discussion. And the turn of the discussion depends on how the state responds, right? The turn of the discussion depends on how the state responds. In other jurisdictions, healthcare is a major issue, one that people use to determine how they're going to vote. Here, I'm not quite sure if issues are a part of our determination on how we're voting. Producer, let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Hey, Erin, my call got dropped. Could you ask the producer to turn up the volume on the callers on hold because it's hard to hear you?
Okay.
Anyway, those four-wheelers
Yeah.
and those vehicles that you see running around are made for off-road terrain. What do I mean by that? Dirt.
Yeah, they are not designed for asphalt and road use.
Correct, because what happens is the wheels are very close together. And so when you turn, it'll slide on dirt. But on tar, if you turn sharp, the wheel will hook in that tar and flip it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see a lot of things on. Anyway, you know what? Look like Whatever Buck Up Go should be the new national anthem. But yes, you probably would have get charged this morning. You see that?
Mm-hmm. I would have definitely been charged with driving without due care and attention, right? And then, fortunately, the guy pulled up on the side of me and apologized, so we get a sir, right? But another road user may have lied and said, no, I didn't come down the same hill that they came down. I had the right of way, and that's when they hit me, right? We run the risk of all of these things in an instance where I should not have a problem, but I will get to driving without due care and attention, unless they're the pedestrian, right? You get a driving without due care. And
maybe walking without due care and attention sometime if you're intoxicated.
Well, listen, intoxicated by the cell phone.
I am parked on the side of the road right now. You want a picture?
I trust you.
Thank you. So anyway, Erin, let's see what happened. But I can leave you with this. What does $10 a gallon gas look like in this country?
Hold on. Here's my thing. Thank you. And to the other caller that just hung up, call back, man. $10 a gallon. And if I recall correctly, the last time oil was at $80 a barrel, gas was just over $4. Now, there was the deal. They signed the deal. But then almost immediately after they signed the deal, Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, indicating that Israel was not abiding by the terms of the deal, or they just, don't stop bombing people. I think it may have been Lebanon in this instance. And so my question is, right, why, if oil is at 80 or was, right, at 80 a gallon for the barrel, why was our oil at just under $7 and just over $7, right? What's impacting that cost there? Let's go to the phone line, and then we're going to get to the text line. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning, Miss Greene.
Good morning.
Yeah, well, you know, you have a bicycle, right? So you could go up to $50 a gallon. I ain't seen no one buying no bicycles, but I just wanted to highlight the fact that you see, Graham made me laugh and say walking while intoxicated. It happens because you see people throwing themselves into the road now. Some people are suicidal, and it's apparent. I wouldn't even talk about being engrossed in the phones while crossing a corner, Your Honor. But I'm very upset that post-pandemic, and along with the irreparable corruption on the police force, I'm afraid that none of us are safe because motor scooters, we saw the recent shooting with the young ladies and the recent shootings of motorcyclists, right? Who seems to be now taking advantage of wearing the mask, right? So just as a quick scenario, I'm riding a motor scooter. I mightn't be criminal-minded or I might be criminal-minded. I see a play. The guys on the streets know what I mean, a play. I decided to make a play because I wear a mask anyhow. So I'm trying to find out who is facilitating crime. I mean, why would a young man, you know, they wearing hoodies and stuff in the summertime and they're using masks. So, I mean, what is it? Are we safe? You see what I'm saying? Should we all be parking? Miss Greene, somebody could explain that to me. Why are people wearing masks on scooters and just they're trying to conceal their identity? You figure that out. Give thanks.
All right. So people wear masks on scooters to prevent bugs from getting into their nostrils and in their mouth while they're riding, right? That's the purpose of the mask, to prevent bugs and debris from getting into your nose, your nostrils, and your mouth when operating a motor vehicle. Now, if a rider had on a helmet, their face may be equally obscured, right? Their face may be equally obscured if they have on a helmet. That's why it's important for all bikes to be licensed, right? And don't we have CCTV? Like with CCTV, we should be able to track the movements of a suspect to determine their identity. Whether if we're tracking them backwards, we're tracking forwards, right? Says a text, good morning, Ms. Greene. We need education for bus drivers also. Had an encounter with JN 0301 last Friday. He sped up, changed lanes, cut in front of me, and made a stop. There's a particular culture that has taken root amongst people who drive vehicles with special plates and commercial vehicles. Some are marked and some are unmarked. These drivers tend to act as if the law doesn't apply to them. If I told y'all this weekend we watched a major courier company vehicle run a red light while on their cell phone with the most chalant attitude ever. But if you go to their place of employment and report them, they're going to They're going to want to fight you. They're going to want to break you up when it was just so simple to not break that law in the first place. Text says between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m., a speed cop can make his monthly salary and more on traffic violations. Listen, I imagine that the refusal to follow and enforce traffic controls by the RBPF is the symptom, like the remnants of a long-term informal protest that's been going on for so long that young recruits don't even know that it's a protest. They just think it's normal police culture, right? And when the irony is if they just focused on enforcing traffic controls, they could generate sufficient revenue to resource themselves to a point where they could improve morale in and on the force. Four-wheelers should not be licensed to be on the highway, helmet with face shield. Right? They all, right? Like, and I suspect that one of the reasons why police have stopped stopping people for not wearing helmets is because if they're not wearing a helmet, it's easier to see their face and identify them. The second reason I don't want to tell you all, because I don't even think it's fit to repeat on the airwaves. Says a text, yeah, but compounding the problem is that bikes have no license plates. No, I am agreeing with you. Exactly. I am agreeing with you. That is a problem. Text here says, excellent talk show today, lady, concerning disability in the Bahamas. Here on Grand Bahama, our disabled council is very absent. And who really care because the numbers are increasing monthly. Selah, please send us some help on Grand Bahama today from the mayor of Grand Bahama. Amen 2026. Like I said, Paho, I'm going to bring the story tomorrow. Paho, we talked about it. I want to bring it to reiterate what was said. We're in the middle of a 10-year, like a decade for long-term care. The three first prongs, like person-to-person care, personal care for the patient. The second prong is the roles, rights, and value of the caretaker. The third prong is long-term care protocols, right? So that's the state, the Ministry of Health, creating legislation to describe what our rights and responsibilities are in terms of long-term care, what the state's rights and responsibilities are in terms of long-term care. And we need a conversation about to what extent the state can shift the burden of care for elderly citizens onto the children of those citizens. See, because what you're doing is you forcing and forcing through legislation relationships that may not exist. When you have an obligation, regardless of status, regardless of whether the person has children or not, you, the state, have an obligation to take care of people. We have to continue talking about that because we have far too many non-communicable diseases impacting us and rendering us disabled. These are the major conversations that we're going to need to have. This is impacting our labor pool and our ability to produce and at what level. So while we're sitting here trying to figure out how we're going to secure our rights, we need to focus on securing our bodies. Because in the Bahamas, you have the right to work, but you can only work as well as your body allows. Sonny Lutra, we have not forgotten you. We've seen the headlines. We'll be talking about it this week. BPL, Power Woes. I don't know, where's Pike? Where's Island Grid Solutions? Where are they? I hope they're getting some breeze. You guys, callers, texters, thank you. And thank you to that texter that said, I tune into your talk show as often as I can. You're doing a fantastic job and make much sense in your questions and answers. Continue to be an excellent host. Thank you very much. To the sponsors, spend some money on the show, man. We appreciate all that you've spent already. We encourage you to spend some more. Have a great day, Bahamas.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.